equator in a cipher around the planet. Lyrical. As hot as the equator in a cipher around the planet. Lyrical.
When you see me holla, hello, I am the gifted fellow out of the crew they call lyrical opposition. I'm moving without precision, pivoting my position is pivotal. With the pen I get rid of the competition. Intentional, then again, accidental. The words impact the mental. I'm back to giving them bars.
Hi everyone, my name is Lacy Nguyen and I am the Program Director for Lyrical Assembly. Thanks so much for tuning in to our Lyrical Assembly broadcast. It happens every Sunday at 10 a.m. and we're really thankful that you're here and you're a part of this community. Up next, we have some footage from one of our last second Sundays within the past few months.
Let me just pray, and then we'll allow Lacy to go from there. Lacy and Crystal. Father, we thank you so much for today. We appreciate what a beautiful day that this is. This is the day that, God, you made, and we are rejoicing and we're glad in it. So we're thankful for all the people who are here today. I ask that you would help us see so much more than what we have seen before. I pray that the artists will be comfortable in this space. I pray those who are listening in this space would hear what they need to hear today. These Beatitudes in which we are read today is a revolution that Jesus tried to start. And he started it with a small group of men and women. And so with that being said, God, you could use us in the same way that you used that small group then. So thank you. Push us into a place of hearing you, a place of understanding, and a place of even curiosity. We thank you and we praise you. In your name, Jesus, we pray. Amen. Ms. Lacy.
Thank you, Kirk, for that word and for reading the Beatitudes. So for those of you who don't know me, my name's Lacy. I currently work for Lyrical Assembly, organizing all these amazing artists that you guys are going to hear today. And I'm also the one who organizes future Second Sunday gatherings like this. So if you guys in this chat are artists and you want to write something for the next Sunday, please make sure to contact me. I'll put my email in the chat. Today we have some really dope artists, all who Lyrical Opposition has worked with before. So we're going to start off with Jonathan. So I'm going to read his artist bio. Jonathan, aka the Algebraic Prophet, is an Ethiopian-born, San Jose raised African-American and American-African. He is a hip-hop head, church boy. He's taken, sorry ladies, former college dropout, dealt with cycles of depression, and he loves sci-fi and fantasy. He has been a spoken word poet for 11 years, worked in education for 5 years. It took him 6 years, but he finally got his degree from UCSD. To him, his art focuses on shifting the perspective to inspire more vulnerability in people's lives. That is the Algebraic Prophet, everyone. Take it away when you're ready, Jonathan.
All right, cool. Y'all can hear me? Okay, so this is not the piece that I was gonna do, but we're just gonna work it out. Ironically, it's called Prophet for the Prophet, and it's dealing more with the Luke version of the Sermon on the Mount and the woes. And so I'll read that verse really quick to kind of get your minds thinking about it. So Luke 6:26, woe to you when everyone speaks well of you, for that is how their ancestors treated the false prophets. So this is called Prophet for the Prophet. So Prophet for the Prophet. Here we go. They say money is the root of all evil, and I say y'all got it twisted. A quote so often misquoted. A verse from our holy text that's missing context. For the love, here's what it really say. For the love of money is the root of all evil. I said the love of money is the root of all evil. So what's the big deal? Same diff, right? Wrong. Having money is not evil. Being rich is not a sin. Celebrating wealth in a healthy way is okay. Now, the question that should occur in your minds is, what is the healthy way? Oh, thank you for asking. That's such a good question. Let's get into it then. When a prophet pursues his profit over God, it leads to church hurt. Because the gospel is corrupted. The spiritual fruit that they bear has rotted. When a prophetess pursues their profit over God, their prophecy looks more like prophets-ish. As in not true, unreliable, and judgmental. And because Jesus is the way, the truth, and the light, he ain't part of that ish. Ish as in I'm so huge, I don't need God. Ish as in I'm so huge, I don't need God. Ish as in I'm so huge, I don't need God. O workers of iniquity, I warn you, repent. Truly, make a U-turn if conviction is creeping into your soul as you listen to the words I speak. Cry out to the Lord, confess your sin, act justly, love mercy, walk humbly again with him. That's it.
Thank you, Jonathan. That was so amazing. I really love the wordplay that you did. Jonathan is, I feel like, the master at wordplay. He's always doing that. So thank you so much. That was really good. I feel like it also speaks to a lot of things going on right now, but I feel like it's a timeless piece because there's always going to be people who care about profit over real prophecy, right? Yeah. All right. Yeah, thank you, Jonathan. Also, I forgot to say this before. If you guys hear something from artists and it, really resonates with you, we're in a spoken word space, so feel free to do the clap emoji, fire emoji, show them some love. Jonathan, thank you so much. And we're gonna move on to the next artist. All right. The next artist we have is Altair. So Altair has also been to our lyrical op workshops. And he is a social work student and Reiki master in training. He's interested in working with LGBTQ people, people of color, and people in alternative lifestyles. He's been writing since he was 10, and he enjoys video games, exercising, and dancing. I also believe Altair is from New York, which is really cool. We got the East Coast repping today. So Altair, whenever you're ready.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for having me. I've been feeling so numb, like I can't lower my barrier. I thought I had energy in reserves, but now it's an empty carrier. It's safe to be home, but my days are getting maddening. My head keeps spinning over everything happening. The potential of the poor lies in heaven, paradiso. This life on earth is like a jacked up rodeo. Inheriting this earth is a very tall order, while dealing with leaders who are creating more borders. How are we supposed to be people capable of mercy when constant injustice revolves controversy? There's so many people with their meanings and ends for peace. But how do you restructure an institution like police? I'm mourning over a lot, including the death of my cousin. I'm glad he was surrounded by love, like warm bread in the oven. What is the true path of the righteous? When it's all possible, I sense a feeling of lightness. What does it really mean to be pure? Is it resisting detrimental factors to prove I've endured? How can we heal this world polluted when standing for what means the world is being persecuted? I'm gonna keep it rolling like a spinning wheel. Like Pokemon contests, I'm adding to my appeal. I'm not alone in shifting the current state because it's so easy to transfer and give others hate. If we take the love inside our souls, we will bask in the spirit of freedom instead of control. And that's it.
Wow, that was, everyone throw on your clap emoji because that was really, really, really good. Thank you so much for sharing your heart with us. And I really like how you use keywords from the Beatitudes. I don't know if you did that intentionally, but
I did.
it was cool to see how you wove that through your piece and you were able to tell your own story and your own truth. And that was just an example of what Kirk talks about, how scriptures and poetry speaks, you know, in partnership with each other. And yeah, thank you so much for sharing your truth with us. We're really lucky to have you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right.
Justice without controversy. Everyone's idea of justice is different.
Wait. The next person we have, sorry, I was on mute, is Ashley.
Everybody's like, that's not justice.
She is a sketch artist, freelance graphic designer, writer, entrepreneur, and innovator. She is a Cali transplant from Prince George's County, Maryland, currently residing in the Bay Area, California. She has a heart for God, youth outreach, homeless outreach, the socially marginalized, cultural reform, and those who aspire personal, professional growth and achievement but possess limited resources and opportunities and the guidance needed to attain them. All right, so we've also had the honor of working with Ashley these past, workshops that we've had. So Ashley, whenever you're ready, take it away.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Lacy, for that intro. And thank you for all those who are in attendance. God bless you. It's good to see your beautiful faces. Kirk, thank you so much. Christian, everyone who helped orchestrate this forum and this platform, thank you. So Lacy, I didn't ask, this is probably the second question I should have asked you. I have two, so I want to make sure it's okay to read two pieces before I start.
It's fine. Go ahead.
Okay, will do. What a systematic mess. Immaculate, I thought I made my space, only hearts and brains. No nooses, no cuffs or chains remained. Patched up the slits, the holes, the cracks, evicted the crooked cops, traitors, punks, and brats. I sneezed on them. No bless yous or tissues. Those booger-fingered bullies with snaggle-tooth motives, altered egos like gaseous intestines bloated. Smoke and the counterfeit is all they invest in. Played that card, risked it all. But BS is the prize we get for the bet we call. The audacity is borderline blasphemy. The epitome of apathy. Digressing for a sec, I reflect on a social consensus implying that certain behaviors, standards, and resolutions are highly regarded by people in an urban society that dictate and differentiate right from wrong. It sounds like a song. So let's dance and throw them stones. So-called moral order set and enforced by individuals of authority or those who contribute most monetarily to society is beyond disrupted, morally corrupted. The cognizant approach police officers have towards maintaining order in a city, the lack of discernment used to decipher their way through frivolous violations as an excuse to supposedly tackle issues of issues of a greater magnitude within a given environment. It's rusted. While we, the patrons of the working class, demonstrate menial methods of holding one accountable for their actions in subtle ways, Rather disgusting, I should say. Snapchat waste, IG handles we handle with loose grip, lead astray. While the cops who blatantly disturb the moral order are seldom criticized. Unsubstantiated reports surrender to higher authority. These cops are never ostracized. Resuming my rhyme and reason, it's all dusty. There's no righteous pleasure when you displease. What's fulfillment in promises of reform if it's emptiness you leave? They can't handle the spiritually complex. Vexed. Hostility is so real. Laden by aesthetic pursuits like sparring drills. Steadily aim at constructs politicking. The discussion is disgusting. Hate went from overt to now just covert. Sneak dissing. We need more. All right, now my second piece is all about the Beatitudes. And this is so on point. Like I just admire God, and I admire the wave that we're on a consistent basis. So here it is. Blessed. Blessed are we chosen from day one. Blessed. Yeah. The ticket's been ripped, so entrance is practically free. Who paid? Well, it was charged in stripes, love, compassion, purity. Oh, I see. Look, why are you trying to devise another way to get in, my friend? Blessed simpleton, love to tell you it's not that simple. You're clearly stumbling on that unforgiven. Yeah, that's simple sin. Listen, Pops ain't no chump. You can't bluff angle or front. The blessed passage set by the master is plain and clear. Stop trying to slick wit which you ain't slick with. Hold. These program pages distinctively describe wages already paid for your seat. Your royalty is in his loyalty. So chill, break bread, and eat. Blessed. I think your problem is the fuzzy. You know, the gray, not the white or the black. That shade that runs from 50, 75 to infinity and back. Because as an allegory, gray is an illustration of excuses, colorless and contradicting, while virtue, it loses. Steady, we try to finagle his truth to cover up how we fall short, hesitantly afraid to abide. There's no need to hide like the sin and sinister or the backwards minister. Who and what stands? Trust you can't in murky sand. So why play in it? Knees deep while tipping the scales, trying to win, but there's only one way in. Blessed are we, chosen from day one. Blessed, yeah, blessed. Blessed when we're merciful, because Lord knows some yearn to bust one. Blessed, especially when sanctity of life is discarded unless you're a lapdog or the officer on the other side of the gun. Blessed is our meekness when the steady play it for weakness, or when they steady play it for weakness. Blessed when you're humble in spirit, rich, deep in character, and can vibe with these lyrics. Blessed even when we mourn, godly angered at those unscorned, who live on in bliss like judgment isn't in our midst. Choose wisely, beloved. Vengeance is his, but the kingdom is ours, while here and in heaven. So stay up, stay blessed. Handle the trivial while he handles the rest.
Wow. I feel like I just got, first of all, your first poem, it was like wordplay, you know, but beautiful, but then like intellectual, and made me think on different levels. I was like trying to like pick up your wisdom. And then your second one, oh my, like you could just see the comments. It was just, yes, it was straight up like 2 sermons. Yeah, the wordplay like a gunplay. Exactly. Yeah, it was the second one. I felt like the second one came from my neck. I don't know if anyone else felt that. But I felt like that came for me. So thank you so much for your truth, Ashley. We're so lucky to have you in this space. Yeah, we really appreciate you. And thank you so much to all the other artists for being here. Kirk, how much time do we have? Because I have a piece too that I could share. Or we can bring it back to you.
We got time.
Okay, cool. Okay, cool. All right. Yeah, so I also wrote a little something for y'all. But I also just want to say thank you for Jonathan, Ashley, Altair for bringing your truth. Like, as an artist myself, I know how sacred that is. So I just want to say thank you again for bringing your truth to our space. So the poem that I wrote is on the verse called "Blessed are the Peacemakers." Yeah, so I was a peace studies major in college, whatever that means. So I feel like peace is really something that I've thought a lot about. I mean, I got a whole degree in it, so I must know something. So, okay. I used to think that peace was something small and weak, like a flimsy piece of paper flowing in the wind, or an unkept branch growing from the bank of a rushing river. When met by the elements, it was always easily snapped by force and never shouted or fought back. Peace was inactive, passive, obsessed with keeping the status quo, played the role of protector of society while wearing a badge of complicity. Peace was neither angry nor sad, suffered from an emotional defect that only allowed it to feel indifferent. But in reality, peace is something much deeper. It is a powerful force that can move mountains and change societies when used properly. Peace is active, it is strong, and it moves in compassion for the disinherited. It acts as the soundboard for the voices of those who have been forgotten. It does not defend the status quo, but it attacks it and demands the disintegration of every system created to oppress others. So, when people glorify the word peace, use it as a blindfold to ignore the people's cries for justice. When they claim that the oppressed must only protest in a way that protects the peace of this society, I ask them what peace is there to protect. Am I to continue protecting the machinery that is this empire that is built to continually kill Black and brown bodies every day, that is built to separate immigrant mothers from their children, that is built to allow the poor to disproportionately die during this pandemic while the rich get richer? There is no peace to protect. What you are asking is for the protection of the structures of this society, structures that have always operated in the opposite of peace, violence. Violence will always be used against radical peace because peace threatens its power. So the next time you quote MLK and ask for a more peaceful protest, remember that he was assassinated. The next time you quote the Bible on love your neighbor, remember the Prince of Peace himself was crucified on the cross. Thank you everyone for listening. Yeah, so I guess that ends our segment for the spoken word piece. I'll bring it back to you, Kirk.
Whoa, that's what I got to say. There's a lot of truth in what was said. I don't know if you guys understand how powerful we lean into these times with one another. And just needing these moments to speak to us. And for some of us, I know this might be even like, okay, is this church? What is this? Well, I want to encourage you that we're hearing from God's children when they speak these truths. And so I want to say this first before anything else. I don't know, Lyrical Op, you guys are amazing folks. Lyrical Assembly, as you call yourselves, you're amazing. I want to read this press release that they sent, and it was powerful. I don't know if y'all saw it, but I got to read it. It says Lyrical Assembly and Kairos Fellowship has teamed up to create Second Sundays, a community gathering that occurs once a month dedicated to poetry, faith, and activism. Second Sundays was intentionally created to provide a sacred space for artists, believers alike, to build a community with like-minded folks who are passionate about doing the work to dismantle white supremacy, patriarchy, xenophobia, and other structural sins of the empire we live in. Both Lyrical Assembly and Kairos Fellowship acknowledge the prophetic power that comes from spoken word. We view poetry and the arts as a tool to decolonize faith, speak out against injustice, and create a communal healing. Through the power of the pen, we believe transformative change can happen. And that's what I believe we're having the opportunity to do. With that kind of thought in mind, we lean a lot towards what it really means to have the art and theology come together. And I'm thankful for that. And so once again, we appreciate you guys so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
So here we go. Announcement times. For everyone, make sure to join our Lyrical Assembly Reads for Resistance book that happens every Saturday at 9 a.m. It is, Reads for Resistance. You read a book, right? This week, we're reading chapter 1 of the book, Decolonizing Evangelism. If you are interested in joining, email Lacy at lyricalopposition.org to join. And then if you want to get connected to our online community, join us on our Discord community server. You can text Lyrical Opposition at 415-903-7699. Then our Lyrical Assembly broadcast is every week on Sunday at 10 a.m. Okay, 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. That's for the West Coast, right? You do the adjustment as you need. You got world clocks. If you don't, then hopefully you can get access to one. I hope you can make it. Make sure you tune in, right? And if you're interested about faith, arts, and activism, the Lyrical Assembly broadcast is for you. Again, right? We have the Lyrical Assembly Reads for Resistance. That happens Saturday at 9 a.m. Okay? They're working on the book. They're reading Decolonizing Evangelism, right? If you're interested, again, that's LACY at lyricalopposition.org, right? And if you want to get connected, remember I said, if you're in isolation and you're trying to get connected to us, we have a Discord that you can connect with us, right? 415-903-7699. I repeat, 415-903-7699. And again, the Lyrical Assembly broadcast every Sunday, 10 a.m. You can tune in, and it's all about faith, arts, and activism.
And we are back with another Reads for Resistance recap. So we just started this last Saturday a new book club with this book right here called Decolonizing Evangelism. Just a little bit about the book. It's by two authors, Randy Woodley, Dr. Randy Woodley, who's a Native American wisdom keeper, professor, and leader, and then also Bo C. Sanders. He's another author of the book who I'm less familiar with, but he has really good content in here as well. And yeah, this book, I'm really excited to read it with our group. Ashley, what did you think of last Saturday? So for those who weren't there, we read the foreword and the intro. So what were some thoughts you had?
Yeah, I really liked the introduction because it kind of it gave you insight of the context that each author was coming to the subject. They both had a long history with evangelical church, and then also kind of framed the arguments and the history of it as well. So it wasn't just like this randomly came upon them one time. It was like there's been a lot of conversation, there's been a lot of history, there's been a lot of hurt, really, from colonization of faith. And what has evangelicalism, what was the origin story, and what do we see today? And I was actually surprised I didn't do my homework on like when the book was made, but I was really surprised to see that it was like very, very relevant. Like they mentioned the Trump era of the US, and I was like, wow, okay, so this is definitely a timely read. And I'm just so happy that we are doing that now. And I love the introduction as well. It started with another person's kind of forward. Since you have your book next to you, I don't have mine next to me. Could you share who?
Yeah, it was Grace G. Sun Kim.
Okay, yeah. So, and then his perspective. So I feel like already in the beginning of the book, you've heard 3 different narratives, right? And they all kind of have the same themes. And I feel like it just kind of prepares you to take this journey. And I feel like it kind of disarms you too. Because I think sometimes people were like, decolonizing evangelicalism. It sounds very like, to me it doesn't, but it could come off as very like militarized or whatever, right? But it's not that. It's like these are people who've experienced these things and they see the harm, they see the hurt, they see the disconnect of faith and what's happening in the world. So I think that was really smart and effective.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I liked how in the history section in the intro, they actually noted that evangelicals were really socially active, like back in the day. Like, and then they were talking about how this recent kind of white evangelicalism that we see that's more tied to conservative politics and issues like that only care about abortion, gay marriage, is actually not the original of what it was. I thought it was interesting since like they included some history on Chicago evangelical like organization, and in that one they were talking about how like the Lord defends the oppressed, they defend the poor, the Lord defends the economic rights of the poor. And I'm just like, that's like almost unheard of from evangelicals today. Like when you think of like bootstrap talk, racism. So it's like, it's really interesting to have learned about the history too. I really appreciated that.
I think, like you said, it's so funny to see how it definitely doesn't happen overnight, but how does one space that starts as one thing advocating for others end up being in the pocket of people with power and money, like, how did we get here? And what were the steps? Like for me, I always try to think of like, what was that first decision that kind of like just rewrote history, or like what was the smallest decision that changed the course of whatever is happening? So I wonder what that first decision was for evangelicalism to turn from kind of being a place for empowering and kind of becoming a place for comfortable Christianity that doesn't require anything of you. I wonder. But I feel like it'd have to be some type. It's not like one decision. I guess it's like the whole church, like Big C church, deciding that they didn't want to be involved in the social justice efforts of their days.
Yeah. I think I would agree with you that it has to do with power, because like anytime that the church or the messages of Jesus are co-opted, is usually like because those people want to be part of what is power. In white supremacy, there's power. In capitalism, there's power. So for like all these white evangelicals, they're obviously like gonna believe what they believe because it gives them a lot of power. Like you don't get power if you partner with like an undocumented community, you know, like that puts you in a more vulnerable position. Or you don't have power if you care about queer communities. Like that also puts you as an outcast in the church world. So
Yeah, I think I forgot who it was. I think maybe for one of my classes we were reading someone, and it's basically how do you yield your power, right? Like you have all of these resources, or just being a person, you have some power, right? But how do you yield your power for someone else? And do you even care about yielding your power for someone else? Is that on your to-do list? Like, is that a reflective kind of question that you have? Like, how did I step in for someone? Or how did I advocate for someone? Or how did I think nowadays a simple way it would be, how did I hold space for someone else? Because I think we're doing a lot of talking, a lot of Zoom things, and it's like, how have I been able to kind of not say my opinion and allow someone else to speak? Or like, I've been a part of groups where someone may not talk, or someone might be more reflective, right? And so it takes a long time for it to process. But the co-facilitator has done a great job of kind of saying, I want to, like, literally calling you out and say, I want to invite you to speak right now. And I think that's really helpful too. So it's like, there's really small decisions that we can make every day that yields our power for someone else. And then it becomes like a reflex, and we don't have to think about it. We don't have to be like, oh, I'm not gonna be able to talk as much today. You know, it's kind of reflex, like, no, I want to hear your voice. God is in you, and I want to hear your perspective. Instead of it being like, oh, Lacy just asked me a question. Lacy was asked a question, and that's her answer, but let me think of what my answer is going to be, and thinking about how you're going to respond instead of even listening to the person who is responding.
Yeah. I would definitely agree with that too. Like, that's what one of the authors, Dr. Woodley, talks a lot about. When he talks about himself, he talks a lot about how he used to be known as the pastor with no pews, because he actually, I think in earlier days, he got rid of the pews in his church because he wanted that communal, like, harmonious community feel rather than having like someone speak in front of everyone else. Yeah, and I think like I don't think decolonizing, although it can be really painful, I don't think that it should be hard. I think if it's true, authentic, like trying to follow Jesus for what he has to say, I think sometimes it's as simple as like getting rid of the pews, you know, and or like inviting others to speak, because then you're deconstructing these like hierarchical structures that the church has put on, which or is rooted in like oppression, you know, like, over you. So
I think, but you have to be willing, because I feel like Holy Spirit talks to us, but people like, nah, I'm good. So
true. That's very true.
Like, a super long time ago, when that song Oceans by Hillsong was really popular, and it's like, Lord, lead me with, I forgot the words, but it's like, Lord, lead me where I can't see. And then like I have a meme like that's just stuck in my head, and it's like a dog on a leash, and he's like, no, I'm gonna go, no, I'm gonna go. And it's like, we ask God to lead us so much, and we want to hear from God so much, but when he really speaks, we're just like, oh no, I don't wanna do it. And we like kind of go in slow motion. I think we just have to be willing. And I think if we stop thinking our faith is like this, I feel like our faith is kind of a monument to like Western Christianity. And I feel like we think we love it, right? This is our way of life. And instead of it being like rooted in scripture or rooted in our experience with God, it's just very much like filled in with tradition and filled in with like the culture of America and stuff like that. So I feel like if we were more aware, we could kind of litmus test our faith, and then it wouldn't be, like you said, as hard, right? Because we could see like, no, I'm supposed to stand in these gaps, or no, I don't want to create an environment in my church where the parishioners have like this kind of divide, right? Where I'm speaking to the parishioners. They need me for something. I don't really need them. They're never able to speak at me, right? So then you would be less likely, or you would be more likely to be like, oh, I'll fix it. No pews. That creates a better environment. Instead, so you would be more willing to listen to the answer, and it wouldn't be as hard. Like, I know if the average person would take away their pews, be like, well, where are they going to sit? Well, what if they get upset? What about the older people? What about, and it's just like so many questions. And it's like, what are you trying to do here? Aren't you trying to cultivate this experience? Aren't you trying to cultivate relationship, authenticity, realness? Everyone is able to speak. God pours into us equally. Like, what are you trying to do? So I think it just goes back to what our desire and purpose and what we feel God is calling us to do, and what do we feel God is about.
I kind of have liked and really enjoyed Zoom because it's feels more like I'm sitting in a pew, or not in a circle, rather than like in pews. Or like church services that I have been a part of, it's been really cool because I don't feel like I'm looking at someone, if that makes sense, like on a podium with flashy lights. Although I don't really go to churches with flashy lights, but yeah, you know,
you don't like the fog machines? I mean, personally, it just really ushers me.
I know the
unknown spirit, mystic of the Lord, you know. So I mean, I digress. I'm not gonna go down that road.
Yeah, that's another topic for another. I used to be into that, but now I'm like, I kind of feel like what's most important is not my worship experience anymore. Like, that's where I've gotten.
Yeah, I think worship is very important, but like, you know, I don't necessarily have to feel like I'm at a concert at church. Yeah. I think it comes with, you know, different experiences, and us being willing to listen to Holy Spirit when He's like, hey, bruh, do you need that? Why do you need that? Where's your desire? Where's your heart at? So, yeah.
I totally agree with you. Well, thank you so much to folks for tuning in for this quick recap. Thank you. Make sure you check out our Reads for Resistance book club. It happens every Saturday at 9 a.m. This week we're going to be reading chapter 1. And if you have any questions, you can always email me or Ashley. So our emails are Lacy at Lyrical Opposition and then Ashley at Lyrical Opposition. So make sure you come to our book club, and we will see you next week.
Come through!
Thank you for watching Lyrical Assembly broadcast today. Make sure to follow us on social media at Lyrical Assembly. And if you want to further stay connected, join us over at our Discord server.
Side is the equator in a cipher around the planet. Lyrical. Side is the equator in a cipher around the planet. Lyrical.
When you see me holla hello, I am the gifted fellow out of the crew they call lyrical opposition. I'm moving without precision, pivot in my position is pivotal. With the pen I get rid of the competition, intentional. Then again,